Digital currencies like Bitcoin are being used more and more every day, and while you won't see massive machines boring into the earth to mine them, that doesn't mean they don't leave an impact on our environment. Joining us to discuss this is Miriam Diamond, professor of earth sciences at the University of Toronto. It gets some time to get used to this language in this context, because when you talk about mining, people, especially vis-a-vis Bitcoin, people can sometimes get confused. So tell us what it means to mine Bitcoin.
Okay, so Bitcoin is very clever. I mean, it's such a novel innovation, and the algorithm, the computer algorithm, is really brilliant. So to mine a Bitcoin means that a computer has to solve an algorithm, but each Bitcoin becomes progressively more difficult to solve, requiring more and more computational time.
And so this is how you determine the value of it, right? Because it's scarce to find this stuff and crack the algorithm, basically.
Well, the value is defined on the market, but it becomes more and more difficult to mine each Bitcoin. Each currency needs to be inflationary, and I don't think we got time to go into that. But anyways, it just suffice it to say it becomes more and more difficult to mine each Bitcoin.
So a lot of people might just be thinking, okay, you're using computers, you're talking about algorithms, but this is actually quite intensive when it comes to energy, isn't it?
It is, and that's because Bitcoin has become so valuable, right? I checked yesterday, it's trading now at $19,000 for one Bitcoin. So there are lots of people interested in mining. In fact, the amount of energy used today to mine, well, actually nobody knows how much energy is used, but it's approximately equal to, on an annual basis, a quarter of Canadian households.
That's incredible.
That's 3.4 million Canadian households, the equivalent amount of energy used to mine Bitcoin as consumed by 3.4 million Canadian households.
32 terawatts, that's what it translates to, and,
right.
and about the annual usage of 19 European countries, annual usage on average. So it's a staggering amount.
It's a staggering amount.
So walk us through this. I mean, at a time when a lot of countries, you talk about the, Paris climate talks, for example, and the initiative that came out of there, at a time when a lot of countries are trying to move away from fossil fuels, what does this do to that initiative, that effort, as we're seeing the growth of things like Bitcoin and mining?
And you know what? That's a really good question, because today, your weather report talks about this incredible storm that's going to be battering eastern Canada. And that extreme weather is so consistent with climate change. And climate change, of course, is caused by the emissions of greenhouse gases. We emit greenhouse gases in order to produce electricity. And here we have about, this astonishing amount of electricity going into mining Bitcoins. So we have to get better at that. And right now, the Bitcoin miners are sort of extra, they're international players. They don't pay taxes. They don't support the electricity system. You and I, we pay taxes, and our taxes in part go to maintain a very reliable energy system so that we have enough energy today and enough energy in the future. Bitcoin miners,
unregulated.
They're not part of the system. And in fact, they actually take pride in not being part of the system, not paying taxes, and not supporting, actually, the use of that electricity.
But broadly speaking, I mean, this is part of what we call the digital economy, which is not going anywhere. It's going to stay. So how do we learn to live with it and, make sure that we're trying to make this technology as green as possible?
Well, we have to do a lot to just understanding the environmental impacts. So the environmental impacts, we've been talking about energy use while using your device, which right now for the internet is about 7% of total annual energy use globally. Now, I mean, that number, we've offset a lot of energy use, say, for transportation and for paper and so on. But what we don't see is all the energy and all the environmental impact that goes into making each device. So even my cell phone here contains a whole raft of amazing compounds, such as neodymium and dysprosium. I mean, it sounds like Harry Potter.
So even just to make it takes energy.
Just to make it actually takes so much more energy than to use it.
All right. Well, this is certainly eye-opening. I don't think a lot of people have even thought about this. So, Miriam, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.